Yo, what's going on, guys? Jeezy TV back with another video. I'm going to try to make this video like 14-15 minutes at most, but we have the weekly track roundup. This is one of the more stacked weeks of the entire year. We have some possible top 15 album of the year contenders, and I say this every week, every time we have an album that I feel like is worth listening to. Move this. Every time I have an album that I feel like is worth listening to, I'm going to do a reaction, edited reaction, all that stuff. And I did the same for Call Me If You Get Lost, the State Sale. So if you want to see my thoughts on that album, go check that out. It's on my channel. A couple of you guys have watched it already, so I appreciate that. But let's get into the tracks. Nardo Wick and Lil Baby starting off. We have Hot Boy. Honestly, pretty dope. The whisper, the whisper delivery from Nardo Wick has definitely grown on me a ton. I've started to like it a lot. I've kind of enjoyed it. I don't really have much to say about it. It's alright. Quavo dropped a new track, Honey Bun. Now going into this song, I thought Yeet was going to be on it because they were teasing together walking around, and Yeet actually commented on his Instagram post endorsing the track. Maybe Yeet helped him make the beat, I'm not really sure, but he's not on this track, which kind of disappointed me. And the interpolation of the whole Rich Flex thing, I don't know, it didn't really bode well with me, but it is what it is. Marshmello, Polo G, and Southside link together for Grown Man. Southside and Marshmello, obviously, two pretty decent, Southside was big time for Lil Baby coming up. Marshmello's worked with the likes of Roddy Ricch, Juice WRLD, obviously Polo G here. All sorts of different artists, so he's well versed in the hip hop community, and those three came together and made a decent song. It was kind of weird. Gucci Mane, 21 Savage into Baby, pretty dope little collab here. They come together for 06 Gucci, obviously, paying homage, with Gucci Mane on the track too. I feel like it's iconic as hell, the 2000s Gucci and all the mixtape runs he had. Obviously, you got to pay homage because a lot of rappers were inspired by that, obviously, and not a lot of people really understand the influence that Gucci Mane had. Even if his music doesn't even really sound that good to a lot of people, it's like he influenced a lot of rappers, Rod Wave came out with a new track, Fight the Feeling. Now, normally I'm not that big of a Rod Wave fan, but I will say this isn't that bad of a song. Obviously, it fits the same vibe. Obviously, it's very repetitive. I mean, that's what his music is. And I mean, I don't really get the whole fandom behind him. I don't really get how people get behind him in general. But I'm not going to hate on an artist because I can't do the same thing. Which obviously, that would lose the point of what I do on this platform with music. But I talk shit on a couple of tracks, but this track, I think it's decent. 06 Gucci was okay. 21 Savage had a pretty dope part. I might have to go back and re-listen to that. Moray and Lil TJ came together with High Price. Two of some pretty iconic voices in the rap world. I think this was a very much long-awaited, very much needed collaboration in this space, and I think they did it somewhat well, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, let's get into the brand new DJ Drama album. This is the big drop of the week. Oh man, the mixtape mogul DJ Drama's impact on the game is nothing short of staggering. I mean, he's so influential. He's been a part of so many projects, and even recently with, Dreamville's D-Day, Tyler the Creator's album. He's done plenty. He's made records for Lil Wayne, Jeezy, T.I., all sorts of different artists. I mean, the Gangsta Girls mixtape series is probably one of the most prized possessions in hip-hop history. His work with now legendary artists from Jeezy and Lil Wayne to Gucci Mane and Yo Gotti helped solidify Southern rap dominance in the 2000s and 2010s, while his inescapable Gangsta Girls brand became a household name in hip-hop. I mean, he's literally DJ Khaled. He's literally DJ Khaled, but with, more culture. He's more well-versed in the culture. He gives people what they want. That's what he is. Unlike so many of his generational peers, he has continued to reach younger listeners thanks to his memorable hosting duties on Tyler the Creator's Call Me If You Get Lost and a string of 2020s projects opposite the likes of G Perico, Cash Doll, and numerous underground and rising stars. I wouldn't call Tyler a young audience, I guess, compared to who they said before. I'm writing Apple's thing. I don't want to really give you guys a shit ton of thoughts because I kind of got to make this video a bit concise. I got to get going here. With I'm Really Like That, Drama seizes the opportunity to demonstrate his dominance with a cabal of collaborators positioned in unique combos. And on albums from guys like DJ Drama, and DJ Khaled and Metro Boomin and all those sorts of guys, where they curate, they produce, they do a little bit of everything. That's what you want. That's what you go into these albums wanting, like the unique collaborations on various tracks. It's crazy. Decades of mixtape shrewdness results in such compelling team-ups as Rick Ross and West Side Gun on a song. I mean, they are very random combos, but at the same time, they kind of make sense. Roddy Ricch with Gucci Mane and Lil Wayne, like, those are two rappers from separate times, and they're working with an up-and-coming rapper. Lil Wayne's from Louisiana, Gucci Mane's from Atlanta, and then you have a California rapper in Roddy Ricch. It's kind of crazy, all the regions of hip-hop coming together, and you can kind of see their styles. Again, that's exactly what DJ Khaled kind of did with his album. The Generation Now discoveries Lil Uzi Vert. His Generation Now discoveries Lil Uzi Vert and Jack Harlow make notable appearances, as do dear old friends like Jim Jones and T.I., each bringing their admirable talents to what ultimately proves one of the finest projects of his unstoppable career. And I obviously I'm a little younger than a lot of people that would be like listening to Prime DJ Drama. And maybe I can't speak on this. I really like the album he did with Tyler. This album's good as well. The D-Day album, of course, from Dreamville. Those are literally like the only three like major albums of his that I've really, really listened to. Like that. So going into this, I was listening to it and I was impressed. Maybe I need to go back and look through his catalog because I'm not really that much aware of some of the stuff he's put out. And yeah, again, I was like 3 to 10 years old in his big ass like Gangsta Girls run, pretty much around those ages. And I didn't listen to music till like 2010. Like Eminem was the first like major bit of music I listened to. Yeah, you can call me white boy in the comments. I don't really care, but there's that. Lil Tyler dropped a little mixtape. He had a song with No Cap. I really want to support Lil Tyler, but I just didn't feel like listening to a whole mixtape. And I honestly didn't really have time to, with all the big drops coming out this week. We still had to get to Autumn's album at the end of the day, so I was kind of being conservative and being like, you know what, I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna hold back a little bit on the Lil Tyler mixtape. But shout out to him. He's making big waves. I think he already signed to Atlantic Records off of this album, this mixtape, whatever you want to call it. And I can't wait till he keeps going up. He's worked with the likes of DJ Scheme, Ski Mask, Danny Towers, Babytron, and it's just going to begin from here. I mean, there's all sorts of Florida rappers in his area that are probably going to want to work with him. Not just because he's like a young pop star growing in this industry, because he's genuinely a fun artist to listen to. I really like the flows that he brings. Obviously, he is inspired by a couple of rappers. Can't really name any off the top of my head. Obviously, he is inspired. That's very normal. But, yeah, shout out to Lil Tyler. Charlie on a Friday and Lil TJ dropped their new track, Same Friends. I saw this kind of circulating on TikTok and all that stuff. I'm well versed on TikTok. I'm on TikTok quite a bit. As bad as I don't want to admit that, it's a thing for sure. But yeah, Charlie on a Friday kind of has like an interesting sound to his voice. He's got like a Morgan Wallen sound. He's got like a 24K Golden sound. He's got the Kid Leroy sound. All those voices put together, and you have this Charlie on a Friday guy who is another artist who's kind of making waves. So it's really interesting to see those artists kind of on the come up. Dom Corleo, I think Benny X. I want to say Benny X produced this beat on Wake Up. It's actually a really good song. I've loved some of the stuff that Dom Corleo has been putting out recently, and this is no different. But moving on to another album released this week, Larry June and The Alchemist Come Together. Larry June, a guy I've been listening to quite recently, and those two get together for an album. I'm like, okay, let me see what they got here, Two of hip-hop's most prolific contemporary artists, laid-back rapper Larry June and production vet the Alchemist, seem to have plotted The Great Escape for some time. If prior co-credited appearances on projects by Mutuals, Currency, and Jay Worthy signaled their clear studio chemistry, 2022's Spaceships on the Blade standout track left little to no doubt that the two absolutely needed to drop a proper album together, and this has been hinted at for a while, apparently. I'm not really that big of a Larry June fan, but I saw him with Alchemist, I was like, okay, man, like, you got an Alchemist spot, you gotta be doing something here, and he definitely did. Following the anticipatory Lucy teases of a couple of tracks, this 15-track effort exceeds expectations by formally bringing June's entrepreneurial ethos of health and wealth into ALC's unparalleled sonic world building. Visions of luxury cars, presidential suites, and of course freshly squeezed orange juice run through June's lyrics over a couple of tracks. The pair's no-expense spared journey takes them to Detroit, where Boldy James spits confidently through a perpetual snarl, and Big Sean speaks on the long game with unapologetic frankness. Elsewhere, East Coast Renaissance man Action Bronson drops a dizzyingly reference-heavy verse on a jazzy track, while Wiz Khalifa elucidates his core values in the psychedelic, soul-powered track he was on. And yeah, I think this is a really solid album, honestly. I enjoyed it a decent bit. We got to keep going here. Pretty good tracks. Chloe dropped herself an album in pieces, so I don't really want to talk about it too much. Obviously, the Chris Brown single was good. She has Missy Elliott and Future. Both of those tracks, the track with Missy Elliott and the track with Future, both of them were good as well. Yeah, shout out to her. Lloyd Banks, I mean, at this point, this is kind of the undercard. Lloyd Banks dropped a track. Obviously, Lloyd Banks is an absolute legend. Worked with all sorts of artists. Jetson Maid worked with a rapper, Take 45, on a song called Racks. I know who Jetson Maid is. He's produced for DaBaby a lot. All sorts of different artists, so I figured I'd check it out. Cash Kid dropped a little album with, the likes of Babyface, Ray, E40, and Draco the Ruler. Rest in peace on his album, so I was like, I'll check that out as well. But getting into the main event here, we have Autumn with Golden Child Chapter 3. Now, obviously, he is a bit of a repetitive artist. I don't want to talk too much about him, but this album is pretty damn good and probably some of his best work. Obviously, he had great singles on this thing. You're Better Than Them, Hate It, Still the Same, If It Means Anything, like those series. Can't Rent No More Anymore is great, but you look at songs like 2x2 and like that. All these tracks in the back half. I mean, really, you should focus on the back half of this album. I think that's where Autumn really shines on this thing. But I don't really have much to say. There's no features on here. You gotta love it. I mean, he's an indie artist. I think it's great. So shout out to Autumn for dropping a solid project to end us off on the New Music Friday week. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. As always, GZTV, giving you guys the best music content out there. Obviously, go check out that Tyler the Creator video. Just go scroll through the channel under videos. These are my live streams during the week. The edited videos is what you guys really want to see. That's the content you don't want to miss. That's my album reactions. Every now and then I'll do like prediction videos and all-star stuff and all that jazz on there. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. I gotta get going. I gotta hit the road here in a little bit to go back to